Okie dokie, 20 random questions. I got these off of Pinterest, text to image to text software was used, and there might be errors. I haven't read them. I never do. What's the most embarrassing that's what's the most embarrassing that's ever happened to you in public? Let's insert thing. That has ever happened to you in public. Okay, I'm in the church, and I literally don't care that people see me naked, but this was a church, okay, and it embarrassed me because it was in a church. I was sitting front row in front of the pastor. I was lined right up with his podium, and my pants split, and I wasn't wearing any underwear, and they were tight, and my genitals fell out, and gave him the full Monty, and he was cool about it. He just went, "Hi, Dave," and I just covered myself in my Bible and walked out. I was terribly embarrassed about that, but usually I just literally don't care. But it was a church, and it embarrassed me. If you no longer had to sleep, how would you spend the extra 8 hours? God, watching streaming, doing puzzles, doing art, doing the things that I do normally in the day. I would just do more of them. If you found yourself in a zombie apocalypse, I'd be dead in a heartbeat. If you found yourself in a zombie apocalypse, what would be the best weapon to help you survive? I'm going to have to say a machete. I think that's the best. You can use it to cleave their brain, and you can use it to cut their head off. Basically, you have to destroy the brain or sever the head. To stop them. So I think that's the best. My brother taught me how to sharpen knives. I'm good at it. I don't have any stones anymore, but anyways. If you were an alcoholic drink, what would you be? An alcoholic drink, eh? I'm gonna have to say a tequila sunrise, because I'm bright and like that, a bright personality and whatnot. But there's that hint of tart in tequila sunrise. So yeah, I think I would be a tequila sunrise. What's the worst food you've ever had? The worst food I've ever had was bear. I hated it. It was disgusting. Now, I have been told that you get one that's only lived out in the wild, not near a city. They taste a lot better, but this sucked. It was the worst food I have ever had. What's the absolute worst flavor of ice cream? Worst flavor of ice cream. God. I'm going to have to say Tiger. Which is weird because I used to like it as a kid, but somewhere around the age of 13, I just literally stopped liking it, just like a wall. It was just it was a total turn off to me all of a sudden, and I don't know what changed in my body, but it did. So yeah, Tiger, which is a sherbet, orange sherbet and, flavor and a licorice flavor combined. What's your biggest guilty pleasure? I am not guilty. I don't feel guilty about any of my pleasures, even the destructive ones. I do drink. That's a destructive pleasure, but I don't feel any guilt for it. I don't feel guilt for any of my pleasures. I don't. I don't have this weird inbred morality in me that's a falsehood, basically, to control people. I've never allowed that to happen in my brain. So I don't feel guilty about pleasures. What's the worst piece of clothing you've ever worn? The worst piece of clothing I've ever worn? That would be the jumpsuit that I had to wear as a painter because it was kind of tight. Because they just couldn't get one for me that was tall enough in the body. It was big enough otherwise, but yeah, it kind of cut into my crotch and up my butt, and it was it was the worst piece of clothing ever. Yeah, and I had to wear that up to 12 hours a day. So we got paid by the job, by the way, so we worked a lot more than normal. So yeah. Anyways, what was the most embarrassing moment of your teenage years? Teenage years, eh? God, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't. Nope, nothing comes to mind. I am absolutely certain there was something embarrassing in my teenage years, but I cannot recall any of it. I can recall the good times, a lot of good times from my teenage years, but I cannot remember one embarrassing moment, not one. Or have you ever had a terrible haircut? I've always gotten the haircut that I wanted or that my dad wanted me to have, and I was cool with what my dad wanted me to have. So I've never had a terrible haircut. So no, I haven't. I used to go to, on a side note, used to go to a barber that has retired. He worked for, I don't know, 40 years, something like 40 years, I think it was, as a barber. But he was the fastest barber I've ever seen in my life. Even if you're getting a complicated haircut, he would be extremely fast about it. You would go in there and there'd be 5 people ahead of you. In 15 minutes you were out of there. It was amazing. Anyways, how many turkeys do you think it would take to bring down an elephant? I have no idea. This is a stupid question, a silly question, but to topple an elephant, I'm going to say 500. Is there a movie that made you cry with laughter before? Oh yes, there has been. But I am terrible with names. I literally am. And I do not remember names. I can quote lines from movies I saw 5 years ago, but I cannot remember the name of the movie. It's that simple. I have a thing called name blindness, and where you do not remember names, and it's specifically for labels, names of things and people. So yeah. If I need to use a new thing that I have never used the word for before, it is incredibly hard for me to learn the name of that tool, for example. Anyways, so yeah, but I cannot remember the movie, but it made me laugh so freaking hard. Yeah. Anyways, it was a family comedy of some sort, and it was recent. But yeah, it really made me laugh. Literally, tears were coming down my eyes because I was busting the gut. I was 10 minutes in when I just went hysterically laughing. I wish I could remember the movie because I would link the IMDb for you, but I can't. So, what's the stupidest superpower you can have? Stupidest superpower, eh? I would have to say water bending. I'm sure there's a good use for water bending, but you can look that up. I'm not going to describe it. I've gone too long anyways. Water bending, I think, is the stupidest superpower. Close, I think air bending is a lot more useful. But anyways, it's not a hugely known superpower. Anyways, it's from a game. But anywho, what's the strangest fact you know? The strangest fact you know? That almost all female cats are left-handed and all male cats are right-handed, or the other way around. I don't remember. But by sex, they're generally the opposite handed as each other, the males and females. And I think the females were left-handed and the males were right. I didn't put this to memory, and it's a recent thing, but yeah, it's the stupidest fact I've learned in a long time. If you were a boxer, what would your entrance song be? God, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say the A&W theme song from way back when in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, do 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 do. Yeah, for the root beer. If you had to sing one song for karaoke, what would it be? There is no way in hell you're making me sing karaoke. You would have to kill me if you had a gun on me and said, you have to sing. I would let you kill me. I'm not joking. I'm not going to sing karaoke. I sing it when I'm in my chair alone by myself, but I am never doing it in public. I do not have a good voice, and I'm not doing it. But sing a song in karaoke? God. I'm going to have to say Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. Have you ever done a crazy dare? Oh, fuck yes. I used to be a complete moron as a teenager, and I mean that. I was a smart guy, but I did really stupid things all the goddamn time. It's amazing I actually lived. It is, because I did a lot of really dumb things. Yes, we did this thing where we got side by side on Highway 363. There's a really long straight spot, and we turned our lights off at night. This was at night, and a moonless night. It was extremely dark out there, and we were going 60 miles an hour side by side, and with our lights off. And the one that turned their lights on the first lost the bet, basically. But that was on a dare. So yeah, just so dumb, so dumb. I mean, like, if that was my kid that did that, I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you, dude? But anyways, hey, yeah, man. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received? The weirdest gift I've ever received was a butt plug. That's the weirdest gift that I've ever received. It was flaming red, like my shirt, and yeah. It was a novelty butt plug. I don't know anyone that could have actually got that in there. I ended up giving it away as I re-gifted it. Anywho, would you rather have a parrot as a pet or a chinchilla? I would rather have a chinchilla. Parrots can outlive me, for one thing, and it's going to be morose because I'm not there anymore. When they are rehomed, they generally don't have a good life and whatnot. The things live like 90 years. So chinchilla would not live that long, and they're cuter, and they're less destructive. Parrots are fucking dicks for tearing things up. If you let them around, if you let them around the house, which you probably should, because putting them in a cage is cruel because they're super intelligent, they will mess shit up. So, anyways, what's your favorite emoji to use when texting? The upside down smiley face. Anyways, that's it. That's all. You have a fabulous day. Keep smiling. Jesus, this went long.